Trump has recently came out and said he's found out the cure for autism. The cure for autism is for pregnant women to not take Tylenol because that's what's increasing our rates here in America. Now, this would be an interesting topic if it sounded like he knew what he was talking about, but when we watch these next few videos, it's going to become clear that RFK Jr. told him something one time and Trump said this is fact, this is the new truth for everybody. And I think it's very dangerous to not have an expert speak on this and to be giving medical advice and then ending it with, I'm not sure, but it feels right.
This country is going through what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism.
Why would you come on live TV giving medical advice saying, I don't know if it's so or not, and then follow it up with something you heard from somebody one time? This is the problem with firing the professionals and hiring loyalists. I can't believe the President of the United States is speaking on a subject he's done no research on when we can see right here, Cuba and the US have similar reported rates of autism at about 83 per 10,000 children. So that throws the Tylenol argument straight out of the window. Now, me personally, I'm all for medical breakthroughs. Please show us how to lower disease in America. I'm ready for that. I think that'd be great for everybody. But the fact that it took me a 10-second Google search to dismantle what was said by the President of the United States and all of RFK Jr.'s research says a lot about who we have in office and speaks on the capabilities of Robert F. K. Jr. as the Human Health Secretary. More fake accomplishments and fake solutions for a problem that's not going to go away. Because Donald Trump needs to make it seem like he's always making progress, even if that means lying to the American citizens or speaking on something he's done no research on and no expert has done the research on. Now, if he says something smart like NSAIDs are bad for your liver so you shouldn't overdo it, that makes a lot of sense. NSAIDs are basically pain pills and sleep pills, which after I got out of the Marine Corps I was taking every single night, and then I went and saw a doctor and my liver enzymes were elevated and they asked me if I take any NSAIDs. I said yes. They said stop taking those. If you take them too frequently, they can hurt your liver. Doctors also say these pills are fine in moderation, but definitely don't overdo it because it can cause liver damage long term. But looking at this autism report right here, we see Donald Trump actually has no idea what he's talking about, and neither does RFK Jr. But here's Trump giving medical advice on people taking vaccines. And if he had done his research before this, I might have appreciated this subject being covered at all. But let's take a look at what he says about heavy metals.
Also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel. The mumps, measles, and all the three should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate.
With no actual research done by any experts, Trump tells you what to do based on how he feels. You should take widespread dangerous disease vaccines separately just because that's how he feels. Now, I'm all for reducing heavy metals in people's bodies as much as possible, but I would like an explanation as to why things are the way they are, rather than you telling me what to do and what not to do based on how you feel. One quick Google search shows they use a minuscule amount of mercury to prevent fungal and bacterial growth. And we use a specific type of mercury called ethyl mercury instead of methyl mercury. Ethyl mercury is typically excreted by the human body relatively quickly, while methyl mercury can be very toxic to people. And if Trump was given this information, he would have been able to convey that in a much more coherent manner than telling you it's based on how he feels. I personally don't think you should be giving advice to anybody on a topic you are not well informed on, especially as a president of the United States. Then again, this is the same guy that tells MAGA that they have a right to be mad. They have a right to be radicalized because the left is causing all of their problems, further dividing this country. I wouldn't expect him to put effort into actually helping people's health. And instead, it's more propaganda for the fake accomplishments he's made. Let's continue. Here is Trump pledging to lower drug prices by 1,000% into the negatives.
We have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, and they are so committed to this, I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And you know, we have something else called favored nations where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called favored nations. You
can't reduce a drug price more than 100%. To reduce a drug price by 1,000% means that if it costs $12, it's now negative 120. So now they have to pay you. Wow, thanks, Trump. I guess the economy is getting better. They're going to pay us with our own tax money. On a more serious note, Donald Trump's mental state needs to be evaluated. I think all those times he accused Biden of not having a good mental state is actually proving to be him yet again projecting. But no worries, the person that is not at all up to date with our current medical research has this to say to you.
Are so bad and they don't take them anymore, but for some reason with this they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born.
It's actually medically advised to not give babies Tylenol until they're at least 3 months or older, and that's only in dangerous cases of high fevers. And in the case a brand new newborn would be given Tylenol, it's because their fever is super high and they can die. So Trump's medical advice is to let your baby potentially die, because somehow that's going to give them the autism that Cuba doesn't have, even though they have the same race as America. This is very dangerous. I will be the first to admit our medical system needs a re-up. It needs a complete revamp, but by people that are qualified, not unqualified loyalists that only got the position because they were going to help somebody win an election. Not RFK Jr., who fired the experts at the CDC and whose memory is so bad that every time he gets questioned in court about things he said he never said it. But unqualified advice based on a feeling to hundreds of millions of people as the president of the United States is just irresponsible. I mean, where's RFK Jr. getting his research? CURE Zone? Here's something Trump says we can slightly agree on.
Go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20 up into 4.
I was sadly mistaken. It's like he was almost getting at something and then he completely missed the target. I think the advice he gave is instead of going to the doctor's office once, go 5 times. Maybe he's not familiar with what follow-ups are. Has Trump never been to a follow-up? Now here's a video of Trump incorrectly explaining on how hepatitis B is spread and tells you not to give your babies hepatitis B vaccine because he's misinformed, but we'll correct that.
Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted. And we think you should wait. I think you should wait till 12. I'm making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors because when they talk about, different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense. And they have that too. They have that too a lot. But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. It's not.
Hepatitis B can be spread from the mother to child during childbirth to include direct contact with infected blood or bodily fluids. You know how we prevent hepatitis B from spreading and make it uncommon? By giving people vaccines. We saw what happened with COVID. Trump very poorly mishandled COVID by telling people not to get vaccines. While many people are very wary against vaccines, they do help prevent widespread disease. Many women who have hepatitis B don't even know they have hepatitis B and end up unknowingly transferring it to the child they gave birth to. It's completely your choice, but I'm going to give you the facts for the miscorrect information Donald Trump is spreading because it's all just wrong. This isn't Joe Schmo coming on the internet. This is the president of the United States. Now here's a third instance of Donald Trump saying not to take Tylenol, but I want you to pay attention to his slurred speech. I don't think he's well.
Basically Tylenol, essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But this is a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So
it's actually a bit alarming the way he's speaking, but let's address what he just said. The smartest thing he said this entire time was to listen to your doctor. However, he said only about 10% of people need to talk to a doctor. Now, once again, a mother and father is always going to know what's best for their family and their child. We only want to correct the misinformation Trump is spewing to millions of people. And finally, while Donald Trump is running things in this country, he makes a statement saying we have a lot of stupid people running things in this country, which might have been the smartest thing he said all video. Let's take a look.
$1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends that have fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? we're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because we have a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous.
It's so crazy how Trump is always almost onto something. He's almost there, and then he just sidetracks. Our drug prices in America are far too high. That's because a lot of people that own the patents to these drugs are for profit. And these large pharmaceutical companies try to use the term research and development for the reasons their drugs cost so much. And why is that same exact brand for that same exact drug $12 in Thailand? Right? Like the guy that bought the pill for cancer patients and raised it from $12 to like $700. And then he was sent to prison for 2 years and they put price controls over it. I don't understand why we don't put price controls over these other inflated drug prices unless somebody's getting paid, and we know they're getting paid. If you'd like to see a video on these pharmaceutical companies and what they've done and why their drug prices are so high in America and the deals they've made behind the scenes, I would be glad to make a video about it, because that is a problem in this country that needs to be addressed, and I'm surprised it's lasted this long. It would be very simple for the US to put price controls on these drugs unless somebody's getting paid, which is the reason maybe we haven't done that yet. So is Trump actually offering a solution, or is he telling them, hey, you better fill my pockets too or I'm coming after you? I guess only time will tell, but with his track record, I wouldn't be surprised at the results. If you ask me, RFK Jr. is going to run into problems very soon when he finds out Donald Trump is for profit and will be sold. Trump's misinformation campaign strikes again, but lies are only harmful if there's no truth to correct it. So let's keep doing our part to correct those lies. And finally, release the Epstein files, Donald Trump. Kash Patel got destroyed in court last week over the Epstein files. I wonder if he's waiting to redact Trump's name fully out of the list. Release the Epstein files. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.